Galveston for 11 years as pastor of First Baptist Church, and so my wife and I moved back here, and I have a life verse, and it's Jeremiah 29:7. Seek the welfare of the city where I've sent you. Pray to the Lord on its behalf, and in its welfare you'll find your welfare. It's my burden, and has been. I received it when I was here before. I used it when the Lord used it in me during the time I was in Galveston. And the reason I'm running is the fact I just felt that God wanted me to run. I was on the school board back from 2000 to 2003. I didn't serve a second term or didn't run for a second term because I was pastor of Memorial Baptist Church, and at that time the board work went really hard and was really heavy. My deal was, since I've come back, is the fact that I can offer my time and whatever it takes, and I can do the leadership and be part of whatever. I always liked what we used to say here: all children can and will learn, and that's my concern, that we learn, that our teachers are paid well, that our ministry's done well, and so that's my prayer, that's my hope. And thank you for listening.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Michelle Snodgrass. I am a product here of Port Arthur ISD, graduating from Lincoln High School in the year of 1987. The best class, by the way, to graduate out of Lincoln High School. My credentials are background in education. I am a certified Texas principal, pre-K through 12th grade, a certified Texas teacher, EC through 4th grade. I have 14 years experience teaching right here, and I've done all my teaching right here in Port Arthur ISD. I have a master's in educational administration, and I hold a doctorate in educational leadership, both of which I received from Prairie View A&M University. I am a U.S. Army veteran, where I served in Fort Hood from 1987 to 1992. My platform, or my passion for running, is to incorporate an early literacy program starting at the pre-K level. With my education, or my background in education, literacy is what we need in our school district and for our students. Once they're strong and adequate in reading, they can do anything: math, social studies, science, everything else falls into place once they're strong and avid readers. I'm also wanting to implement a consistent disciplinary plan that starts at the elementary campuses and grows on and travels on into the high school levels. Once consistent discipline and consequences are established, then we will have less of a concern once the students reach high school. Also, establishing a valuable new teacher mentoring program, that which new teachers that we do bring to the district based on our wonderful salaries and our resources in schools, those students, our teachers, are prepared for what our district has to offer and better our children. Thank you.
First of all, honor God. Thank you. My name is Kenneth Lofton Sr. Been married, gosh, she ain't here. I think 19 years. I'm gonna go with 19. 19 years. I'm a product of PAISD. I've been on the board for 9 successful years. And I have 3 kids who are all a product of Port Arthur ISD. I have one as a junior at Houston Tillerson, majoring in accounting. I have a daughter that's graduating this year who just signed a basketball scholarship to LSU. And I have a 9th grader that's in 9th grade at Memorial High School. So I'm proud to say I'm from Port Arthur. I'm proud to help our Port Arthurans, our kids. That is my platform for running. Plain and simple is I want to see our kids be successful. Whether they stay here or leave and go off to school or come back, that is my only platform, is to see that we produce productive citizens in Port Arthur. Because you got to remember, one day they're going to be the ones who run this city. So if we provide them with the necessary resources now and show them love and caring, one day they're going to be the ones running the nursing homes and the hospitals. So we better make sure they're educated and well-rounded right then. So that is my platform for running. Plain and simple is my kids and my kids' friends and all those other kids out there. Thank you. Oh, and please don't tell my wife I forgot.
Thank you, and those were the PAISD trustee candidates. Now we have a 2-minute limit introduction for, the city council candidates. In this order, we will have Harold Doucette, Raymond Scott Jr., Mark Blanton, Thomas Kinlaw. Then we will have Tiffany Hamilton, Kevin Christopher. We will have next Janice Milo, Charlotte Moses, and Cloney Ambrose Jr.
Good evening. My name is Harold Doucette. I'm running for Councilman District 4. I served on council for 2 years as councilman for District 4 for this seat I'm seeking is one that I held before. I served in the Army for 30 years. I retired with 30 years of Command Sergeant Major. I held a position that brought about a lot of decision making. It required leadership. It required overseeing individuals, taking care of people and people welfare. I retired, came back to what they say, no place like home. Retired, nothing to do, kick back, sleep late, no worries. And after about 7, 8 years, I got to looking at our city, and it just wasn't what it was before I left. So rather than complain, I decided to run for council. I ran and was successful. And being on council is like what I did in the military. It's all about taking care of people. It's all about following policies and procedures and making sure things are done right and for the good of all people. This experience and leadership has enabled me to serve the citizens of Port Arthur. I served also on the Economic Development Corporation. I served on council for 2 years. I served on the EDC for a little over a year. I never missed one council meeting. And the reason I did, everything in my life was centered around serving people. And that's just the way it is. If you're gonna serve, you need to put your life after the best of the interests of the people you serve. So, I'm running again because I want to make sure that our city can be the best that we possibly could be, and I'm ready to dedicate the time and energy to our doing so. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Raymond Scott Jr. I'm the district council member for District 1. I'm speaking not on what I can do, but what I've been doing, because I have a record in working for 6 years for the city here in Port Arthur. I've been involved in mostly all the positive things that's happened here in the city, including the cleanup of the city, this building that you're sitting in now, and the health center. I've been involved in and supportive in making this happen here, this building, and the clinic also. Not just me. You know, I don't like to use the word me or I. It's been we, you know, not just me, other council members also. But I've been very active, and one of the main objectives I've tried to do since I've been on council, and that is to make sure that I become the link that connects the people to city government and city government to the people, by making sure that citizens gather information from me, from City Hall, and making sure City Hall get information from the cities, from the citizens, to know what their concerns are. I've been very active, very visible, very accessible, and very accountable for the work that I've done in the city. So again, I'd like to ask for your support so I can continue making Port Arthur a better place to live and the quality of life for the citizens a better place also. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mark Blanton. I'm a candidate for Council District 3. I've been a resident of Port Arthur since I was 12 years old. I'm a retired city employee. I retired from the police force for 40 years of service. I was police chief for 10 years. When I retired, I had no ambition to run for city council. I decided to do so after people came by my home and called me and asked me to do so. Said that I had a lot to offer, that I knew the inner workings of the city, and I'd been involved in city government for 40 years. My wife and I have 2 sons. We have 6 grandchildren, 2 of which I'm raising. Really don't know what else to say other than I really had no intention, but after everybody asked me to do so, I didn't think I could turn them down. It's unfortunate that I drew an opponent who's one of my best friends, and you will not hear me say anything ugly about Thomas Kinlaw. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for that. I've been knowing him a very long time, and I would never say anything bad about you either. My name is Thomas Kinlaw, and I'm currently on the school board. I've been on the school board for the last 6 years, 2 of those years as school board president. And it's given me an opportunity to meet individuals in this community to build relationships. The question is, just to kind of give you a little bit about my pedigree and where I come from. I am a product of the Port Arthur Independent School District class of 1987, the best class that ever come through Lincoln. I have a Bachelor of Art as well as a Master of Art Counseling. As well have a PhD in Education with a concentration in Human Resources. So I also served in the military. I am a retired captain for 23 years. And being in the military, they really teach you how to read policy, how to be disciplined, and how to overcome situations. So if you ask me what would be my platform, it would to see Port Arthur progress. I too came back to Port Arthur retired. My wife is Valerie Kinlaw. She's a nurse, and I was tired of seeing the condition of our great city. I was tired of also hearing what it used to be, how it used to be. So to be in the game, you got to play. And I felt that it was time for me to come back home and contribute with the knowledge, with the leadership skills that I had to help out with the process of Port Arthur. I want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So that's why I'm running. Thank you. Number 4? Number 5? Tiffany. You want me to go again?
Good evening. I am Councilwoman Tiffany Hamilton, and I currently serve in District 2. I am very, very grateful for the opportunity to be able to express why I want to continue to serve the citizens of Port Arthur. I know that we have a lot to offer, and I am PA proud. I am a graduate of Abraham Lincoln High School and a graduate of Xavier University of Louisiana. I graduated with a degree in business marketing and have a master's degree in international business from American Intercontinental University. So I want to be able to use those experiences to help continue to move our city forward. One of the things that we have to offer is public-private partnerships, and that is something that I want to be able to definitely have more integration of within our community. Public-private partnerships is where the city government will create stronger relationships not only with industry but also other businesses in the community. This is our house and we have to take care of it. Some of the ways that I've already begun to do that is by creating a program called the Helping Hands, where we meet every 3rd Saturday of the month and we clean up our community block by block, 1 block at a time. And that's all done by volunteers. Fortunately, the city manager allows us 2 or 3 staff members to come and help us. Another way is by mentoring our youth. We have a huge problem with human trafficking in our community. We have a huge problem with drugs in our community. But if we don't sit down long enough to listen to those in our community to find out what those issues are, then we cannot be hands-on to help them find solutions to those problems. So I want to continue to be able to push those types of initiatives forward. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Christopher. My wife and I, Connie, been together 32 years. I'm from Chicago. I've been here 38 years now, this August. A little bit of background about me. I worked for the city from 2005 to 2010. My platform is mainly efficient and effective government. Having worked inside of the city, I can tell you that the city is very inefficiently run. In order for anything to get done outside of the city, as far as these programs that the citizens need, we really need to get busy working on the inside of the city so that our citizens can reap the benefits on the outside. Not much is going to get done on the outside until we get our inside together. Millions and millions of dollars are being lost on the inside. Until that gets straight, our council people and our management, we're not going to get much done. And so that's my platform. Until we get things right on the inside, you're not going to see much progress on the outside. That's what I'm running for. That's my passion. Get it right on the inside so we can see some progress on the outside. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Janice Milo. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Port Arthur. I am married to Kenneth Milo Sr. We've been married for 21 years. Together we have 4 children and 13 grandchildren. I am the senior pastor and founder of Kingdom Dominion Church here in the city of Port Arthur. It is a non-denominational ministry, and we have been in ministry since 2010. My background is in nursing. I've worked in nursing homes, hospitals, and primarily in home health. I've worked as a pharmacy IV nurse, inserting PICC lines in the homes for IV therapy. I've traveled throughout the region as far out as Wildwood, administering IV therapy to patients in their home. I was the owner of Vital Care Home Health Agency, which closed after Hurricane Rita. I am also an Army veteran, and I served in the Persian Gulf War. I am running for city council because I want to help move this city forward. I want to be a part of the solution in this city. I believe that the 4 pillars of any successful community is public safety, infrastructure, quality of life, and economic development. For public safety, I believe that it's important for us to work with St. Mary's Hospital to ensure that we have an emergency care facility south of Highway 73. They are refurbishing a building on 365 for another emergency care center, and we need to ensure public safety and make sure that we have a nice, viable, accessible emergency care center south of Highway 73 for the people in this community. Also with infrastructure, we already know that we have issues with the streets, but also sewer and drainage. And thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Charlotte Moses, and I am married to the magnificent Albert Moses Jr. for 33 years. We have 4 children, 1 grandbaby, and I am a lifelong resident of Port Arthur, Texas. I went to school at Wheatley Elementary, and I went to Thomas Edison Middle School and graduated from Thomas Jefferson in 1981. And I love Port Arthur. Port Arthur has been a city that I have been infatuated with and enjoyed all of my life, and I have enjoyed going to high school here. I've enjoyed raising my family here. I've enjoyed working here. I'm a product. And I've worked at the city of Port Arthur for 18 years in human resources, and that was an experience that I will always have and cherish. I love working with people. I loved hiring people. And what do I see in Port Arthur? What is my platform? It is running for a better Port Arthur. Port Arthur is an amazing city, and Port Arthur has such potential. And I don't believe in sitting back. If you can be a part of change, then I believe that you have to get up and do the work. You can't complain about it, but you have to go forth and make things happen and work with the community and try to make things happen for your city. So with that being said, I am running for a better Port Arthur. Port Arthur is a great city. We have a great foundation. We have a long way to go, but we're going to get there. And we're doing some great works and some great things that are happening in our city. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Cloney Ambrose Jr. I've been with my wife, Deborah Ambrose, for the last 26 years. I'm so blessed to have my mother in the audience tonight, Thomas Azine Levere, and my youngest son, Cloney III, is with me. I'm currently the chairman of the Housing Authority here in Port Arthur. I'm proud of the work that I've done with the Housing Authority. If you see, I've replaced Culver Terrace, and we have a beautiful 180-unit complex out on Highway 365. I've also helped to give the city one of their #1 needs, which is senior citizen housing, by just getting completed Edison Square facility south of 73 on Edison's property. We have a 78-unit facility there, and everyone who lives there is very, very pleased and very, very happy. I'm about service. I'm running for council because I want to serve. If you think it's a problem, you need to go out and do whatever you can do to get it fixed. That's why I'm here. I'd like to see the city run more efficiently. I'd like to see us spend our money more wisely. I'd like to see us take better care of ourselves. We don't, and we need to. So that's why I'm running. I'm here to serve, and I'm just looking forward for your support and your votes. Thank you very much.
Next set of housekeeping items, we'd like to thank our timekeepers today. We have Sorod Linda Baptiste with the AKAs and Brother George Young with the Kappas, and they are the ones who are responsible for keeping time and keeping the candidates within the time frame. We thank them for agreeing to serve in that capacity. Also, for the candidates, we have a cooler with water in it, which is over to my right near the door. So should you need water, if you let us know, we'll be glad to provide that to you.
Okay, we'll now begin the question and answer portion of this forum. We're going to start with PAISD trustee candidates, beginning with Diane Brown. The first question: a barrier to many students in the pursuit of higher education is funding. What programs would you recommend and champion to assist students in having adequate monies to attend higher education?
First of all, Port Arthur Independent School District has a lot to offer the student. Recently, they started the early college with Lamar State College at Port Arthur. And our team, it won't cost the parents not 1 cent. They can go for 4 years. The freshman year, they accept 100 students. And they have a great athletic department. They also have the Cape Building. The Cape Building offers nursing. They offer mechanic, welding, criminal justice, cosmetology. And we have, the Port Arthur is looking good. The school district is doing wonderful. I don't have nothing to add that they can do, no more than search for better teachers. We need more teachers in this district. Right now, we have a lot of people are not going into education right now due to the pay and due to a lot of hassle from the parents. But parents have to play an important role in their kids' life also, not just the district. We all come in here as a team, the district, the community. We all have a lot to offer for the school district. So that's why I'm in this running for school board. That's it.
Was the question funding for
students going to college.
going to college? I think the first thing is the fact that you get the grades up and their ACT and SATs. That helps with the funding. You can help them prepare, as she was speaking of, Ms. Brown was, the fact of as the students can, in the PAISD and Lamar College has gone together so that they can have their degree by the time they get out, their associates by the time they get out of school. That helps to get them prepared to get some of the money out of the way so they go the junior and senior year. The thing that holds back and helps funding, to help people with their funding, is the fact that parents, as they fill out those all that information they have to fill out, is to make sure their kids are prepared by having them in school and for them doing the best they can. PAISD as an individual, as a school board, all we can do is plan the programs. They have already done that with the Lamar. I said I was out of time. I think that was a really quick time. Was the Lamar cooperation that we have there in the fellowship. And the next thing is, I think, is the fact that with the funding comes responsibility. We have to give it to to be able to go out and to get with have some partnerships with some of the granting agencies and others like that. But the big thing is the fact that the grades come up, their ACT, SATs come up, and the funding will come. And that will help as much as anything. Thank you.
Okay, listening to the other candidates introduce themselves, I did fail to mention that I'm also married. Y'all don't tell them I forgot to say that. For 19 years, and we have one daughter. To increase funding for education, I would focus on literacy programs. As I stated earlier, literacy is my passion and reading. And as Mr. Mader said, when SAT scores, grades, and those things are increased, funding will come to those students. So we need to invest in a solid literacy program so that our kids and students are better prepared for the college SAT testing and those ACT testing and just scholarships in general. If they're better prepared, then we can, then the money will come to them. And a funding aspect for reaching students is to fund a better recruitment process. As we were saying, we have all of the resources. As a former teacher in Port Arthur ISD, and being on the Texas Teacher Association board, we have the best resources of any of the surrounding districts. We have whiteboards and just anything that you can offer, the strongest in research-based curriculums. However, it doesn't appear that way when you look at our test scores or our gradings. And that's because of the lack of passion and motivation in our teachers. So we have a stronger recruitment process and get those teachers, those certified teachers, into our buildings, train them with a strong mentoring program. They can in turn give those students what they need to build on with a background in literacy, a literacy program, and the funding will come to all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. First off, we have programs. I want to continue the programs that we have in PISD. The early college high school, the career and technology program. We want to continue pushing our kids because not every kid is made for college. So we have to look into getting those resources to get these kids in these different programs. The early college career high school is one of our main things that we're focusing on because we want to start our kids early, getting them involved and knowing about college. The career and technology program. We want to get them involved in the welding classes, the construction trade classes, cosmetology, those different classes. For the kids that's not involved in those, we're partnering up with the city. We've already established some things with the city as far as getting our kids learning how to drive the CDL so they can maybe one day work for PISD driving the school buses. In the mechanic part. Funding is going to come from, we have SAT classes now. We have to, as parents, we have to push our kids to get into these classes. So one way the district is going to provide funding is by pushing our kids to get in these different programs. When we send these forms out and by word of mouth, by me being a voice for our kids and have kids in the school district, we have to get out and push these programs on our kids whether they want to or not. Somebody pushed us to be something, and it's our job as a community to push those kids. I know my mom and dad always didn't have the resources for me to go or to do something, but I always had somebody pushing me. So it's our job as a community to push those kids into all these different programs that we have in Port Arthur. As far as the teaching go, we're out there. We're trying to get more and more teachers to come back. That's why we're partnering up with the city to try to get some of our teachers, our kids to come back. Thank you.
Our first question for the city council candidates is as follows. An ongoing challenge for the citizens of Port Arthur is the lack of employment on a local level. If elected, what ideas, concepts, partnerships would you recommend and champion to aid in growing or attracting employment opportunities for citizens? Again, an ongoing challenge for the citizens of Port Arthur is the lack of employment on a local level. If elected, what ideas, concepts, partnerships would you recommend and champion to aid in growing or attracting employment opportunities for citizens?
Okay, unemployment. I think in order to attack unemployment, we have to understand that it's in twofold. One being individuals that are qualified and those that are employed. So what I would propose is that we start a training program that will start kids off in high school. The city have to partner with the high school with the state college, and the college with the EDC, with the refineries, and also with the city. Everybody have to get online and support the program. Now let's talk about training. We want to train people with skills that are required. So once you receive the training and the certification, we know that the jobs are there. Training individuals in skills that are not in demand is the same as somebody with a college degree right now and still unemployed. So we have to determine first, what are the skills and demands that are wanted here in our city? Once we determine that, then we find out how we're going to attack the training. Once we said partnership, the school district starting them in high school with vocations, welding and stuff of that nature. Once they do 2 years in that, they go to college. They get 2 years, they certified. That affords them an opportunity to get training, certified, and on jobs. And the certification and the training is one that is in demand. So before we could get people to work, we got to find out first, what are the skills that we need here in this city? Then we partnership. Then we get them trained, and we get everybody on board. It's going to take an effort by different entities. That's my approach to reducing unemployment.
Okay, as former Councilman Doucette said, it's one thing that we have now. We have EDC is really working with us for its training. We have to again identify what training we need to do for various skills, but we do have money available. And once we locate and find those areas that we need to train people in, again, it's starting from the high school, going to the college. Right now, EDC is working with Lamar State College for the programs for its process operators and welders. Once we identify these areas and put the funding in these areas, then we can help adjust unemployment. We have to also not just focus on the industrial jobs, but manufacturing jobs. We have to bring diversification here, and by doing that, we have to help clean up our city, make it look attractive, where we have businesses want to come in and set their businesses here in our city. So manufacturing is something that we need to look in also. Again, thank you.
Thank you. I listened to what Coach Kent said, and I agree with what he's talking about. We need to have the jobs that are available here are at these expansions of these plants, etc. You look going over that bridge every day and coming into town every day and every afternoon, not Port Arthur people. You can look, they're from every state in the union. I mean, I've seen them from Alaska. How do you get a vehicle from Alaska here? I don't know. But they're coming down here and doing welding. They're teaching welding. Lamar is teaching welding. My opinion is that we need a partnership with the school district, Lamar University's program, and these need to be addressed in the industrial districts. There's only a certain amount of permanent jobs that are created from these expansions. But there's one expansion after the next. And it needs to be, their subcontractors need to be told that they're gonna hire some Port Arthur people. If they have the skills, we should come first. You know, I'm sorry, but Port Arthur people come first, and everybody else that's coming from Houston and everywhere else can come second. It's just craziness. I saw it for years, and I still see it every day. Thank you.
Some of the ways that we can address the unemployment rate in Port Arthur, just to kind of give you some staggering numbers. I'm a researcher by trade. Unemployment rate here in Port Arthur is about 8.2%, which is compared to the United States, which is about 5.2. Recent job growth, 0% in Port Arthur, compared to 1.5 elsewhere in the United States. Future job growth is about 30.79 compared to about 37.98. So that'll let you know we have to ensure that these employers and these refiners, industrial, hire people from Port Arthur. Because like the Chief just mentioned a while ago, you see license plates all over the states here in Port Arthur. But it's our job as a city council and as a school district to hold people accountable for the things that they do. If they're gonna hire people out of state, we need to raise the taxes on them. Now, if we can do a trade-off. If they're gonna hire people from Port Arthur, we can consider some type of tax breaks. It's simple. The supply and demand of these industrial businesses as well as employers, we have to look for those and identify those jobs that's gonna be conducive to Port Arthur residents and to the school district. We have a career and technology education department in Port Arthur, which is doing very well. We have many students that attend those programs at the K building. We got to continue working with these particular programs to ensure that our kids and our community get the opportunity to be successful in Port Arthur. Thank you very much.
I'm ready. One of the most important things that we have to do is to confirm that our residents have the right social skills in order to be able to adequately interview for these jobs, and to have a good understanding of what their passion is or what their interest is. A lot of times people will choose a job just because of the amount of money they will be able to make, but they may not have the skill set fit for that. So one of the strongest indicators that we can use the resources at the Workforce Development Center to help them understand what they're actually passionate about, and then help them link to those jobs that are available. Another thing is to empower those organizations that train for the types of jobs that we need. Industry has given us an opportunity to know what it is that they actually need. And that's what we learned through our industrial agreement process. So through our industrial agreement process, we have the opportunity to be able to negotiate with industry, to be able to say, this is what we're looking for from you, and then they come back and say, this is what we're willing to offer. The negotiation process is key for us to be able to say, you have to hire our Port Arthur residents. Another thing is for us to create more, what I mentioned before, public-private partnerships. Industry is not the only opportunity that our residents have in order to become successfully employed to live in Port Arthur. Being a school teacher, we just heard about the opportunities for teaching. There's opportunities for manufacturing. There's opportunities for business. Promoting entrepreneurship is very, very important as well. So we cannot put all of our eggs in one basket. Diversification is key. But we also have to make sure that we're grooming strong thinkers to be able to be successful employees and employers.
One quick way we can do it would be looking at our, when we look at our discretionary spending, as far as our budget's concerned, approximately $130 million budget, a little over half of that is discretionary spending. Buy local, buy local, buy local, City of Port Arthur. We can put our people to work by buying as much local as we can. If we put our money back into the community as much as we can put our people to work immediately. You'd be surprised at what $70 million can do for the City of Port Arthur. We buy through buy board, and that's from all over the country. If we get our vendors, local vendors, on board with the buy board program and get them involved in that, our local vendors can buy through buy board, they'll be able to purchase from the city. Or the city will be able to purchase through our local vendors. That'll put our people to work. Just that.
Thank you for the question. I believe that we all agree that it is imperative that we focus on education, training, internship, and certification for people in this community to make sure that they qualify for employment. But I also believe that we need to start with what we already have. I believe that we need to implement a local compliance program to ensure that the industries in this area are honoring their agreement to hire Port Arthur residents. We need to have a compliance officer or someone who can go in and who can look at the records, look at the books, find out how many people are being employed from this area, how many people are qualified, and if they're not qualified, why aren't they qualified? What is the problem? I believe that local compliance program would be an advantage. It would help us, and it would ensure that they are honoring their agreement. I believe that we need to partner with Lamar University. We need to partner with the industries, the EDC, as well as the school district. I believe that we need to do everything that we can to make sure that our local residents qualify for these jobs. There are some situations where they're saying people don't qualify because of they can't pass the drug testing. And so we really need to start with our young people and start finding other things for them to do. We talk about quality of life. Look at the quality of life in this community. Why are so many of our young people using drugs? Why are so many of them drinking? What is the problem? So with our young people being employed, are not being able to get a job because of drug testing, we need to look at that, and we need to offer other programs and things that would help our children to change their focus and to have a better quality of life, as well as being focused on training and employment in our community.
Thank you for the question. I think it's a very valid question. In the year and 3 months I've served on council, had an opportunity to author a resolution that partnered with the school board, with the school district, that actually went into public service for our children. There was a survey. I was in Philadelphia at National League of Cities and saw that they were hiring youth right out of college into fire positions and police, into public safety. And so I wondered, how can we make this happen in Port Arthur? And so basically I got in town, and my first call was to Dr. Portery and asked if we could meet and we met. And then the next meeting, we had the chief of police, our current chief, Patrick Melvin, and the fire chief there. And I told them the idea of having something with our youth that they could come out. I know that the CAPE program is in place, and I know that we have college-ready programs in place, but everybody's not going to go to college. I worked in human resources for 18 years, hired CDL drivers, and I knew that there was not going to be, that you have to be, these people have to be trained, they have to be educated. So what do? I actually met with them, and we have a resolution that the city voted on to partner with, and there was a survey conducted to begin an Explorer program. The Explorer program will begin in August, where the children that are in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade will be able to come out of high school with either being able to be a firefighter and take a fire exam at 18 and come out making $40,000 a year, or come out and become a dispatcher if they're interested in police. They can't come out certified to carry a handgun, but they will be able to come out and they can work in dispatching, they can work in ID tech, they can get the training, they can be an EMT. So that's already in place. We had 272 kids interested, and that program is going to be in effect in August. So we've already begun. I've only served 13 months, but there's so many ideas that we have to institute unemployment, starting with our children.
Unemployment is twofold. First and foremost, we have to partner to get the training. And we know that there's jobs in the area because there's a whole bunch of cars and buses passing through here going somewhere. So we've already identified that it's work. Now we have to partner to get the training. Then once the people are trained, then we have a responsibility to make sure that they hire them. You could have all the training in the world, but if the people are not going to give you the jobs, what good is the training? So first and foremost, we need to get our people trained, and secondly, we need to demand that the businesses in this area hire local. We have to make sure that our people are working, and people treat you how you teach them to treat you. So if you keep letting them get away with doing you any kind of way, they're going to keep doing you any kind of way. So until you stand up and demand that you're going to get what we owe, what we're due, not necessarily what we're begging for, but what we're due. Then you give us what we're due, and then we'll go forward from there. But first and foremost, we partner to get the training. Then we have a responsibility to make sure that local hires local. Thank you.
Now we begin round two. As mentioned earlier, we will be starting with the City Council for this round. Your second question. Tax revenues for the City of Port Arthur have been relatively flat for the past several years. However, as with the most urban areas of the city, is experiencing significant infrastructure, such as streets, sewer, etc. problems. If elected, what would you recommend and actively work on to the City Council and City Administration to address the city's infrastructure problems? Once again, tax revenues for the City of Port Arthur have been relatively flat for the past several years. However, as with most urban areas, the city is experiencing significant infrastructure, such as streets, sewer, etc. problems. If elected, what would you recommend and actively work on to the City Council and City Administration to address the city's infrastructure problems?
Well, we know we have a low tax base here in our city, so that's nothing new. How we will address infrastructure is a simple process that all cities and municipalities do. It's nothing new when they don't have the revenue in order to do the infrastructure. Infrastructure is what people that are affiliated with municipal government call capital improvement program. What it is a program or a project that requires a large sum of money. Normally, you cannot pull that money out of your revenue and operate the city for the year. So what they do is they come up with a plan 5 to 10, 15, 20 years out. And what they normally do is, how do we fund it? Bond. Simple. When you say bond, a lot of people say, oh, you go to tax. You don't have to raise property tax in order to pass a bond. You have to identify where this money is going to come from for the repayment of the bond. And once you pass a bond, you now have that money available so that you can sell as needed to make the work continuous. If you do that, then what you'll have people complaining about in Port Arthur is, not I'm tearing up my car, but I can't drive around town. They fixing streets everywhere I go. And that's what we want people to be able to say. But we need to do it with a bond. It's not going to be done no other way. We've been saying it for the long. It's going to require a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of time. You're right. Stop talking and make it happen. The port passed the bond to expand. The school district passed the bond to build schools. Don't you think we need a bond to fix streets? Only way to do it, the bond.
Yes, that's the quickest way to take care of our infrastructure. Right now, we had the city manager and staff came up with talking about renewing some old bonds and getting the interest off these old bonds, which would accumulate to probably about $14 million. But once we use that, it's gone. So we have new revenue coming in with Cheniere, about $8 million going to be coming in. We have our industrial abatement fund at $34 million. We can come up and commit part of that money from Cheniere, which is $8 million, maybe $3 million, and then from our abatement that we get from industry, maybe $7 or $8 million of that. And that's right at $10, $11 million that we can commit to this bond that we need to pass, where it won't cost the citizens any taxes. We commit to that type of money, and that's what we have not done. We have not committed to money, revenue, that we can do the type of street work that we need to get done. And with a bond, that money, that $10 million, $11 million can pay on a $50 million bond. We can make payments and make sure it don't be 20 years that we get these streets fixed, but 5 to 10 years. Thank you.
All right.
From what I have seen, the city's debt service is down, and I agree with Councilman Doucette. The bond issue is the only thing that's going to do this. The city has done a study, and the district that I'm running for has some of the best streets. But other aspects of it, some of it in Pear Ridge and Griffin Park, look like a tank trap. The city needs to hire some workers that know how to use the asphalt zipper. It's been used once on West 7th Street, and for all I know, it's not been used since. We need to get it operational and start fixing streets. We need to do the bond. There is no doubt, Councilman Scott's correct too. I don't see any other way from what I've seen that we are going to fix streets without a bond issue. And there's other issues that are going to have to be addressed too. Drainage. We've had recent rains. You couldn't even navigate some of the city in some of these places. I saw water almost getting people's homes. You couldn't drive down 9th Avenue in aspects of it. So somebody's got to get to the hospital in a rainstorm, they're out of luck. I hate to say it because I couldn't leave my home and I live in a high area. But the water is just not draining. So there's other infrastructure issues. But I agree with both previous speakers. It has to be a bond issue. It's the only way I can see. Thank you.
What can we do to help with the infrastructure here in Port Arthur? Port Arthur has an annual budget of about $135 million, and about 80% of that is personnel. We also have industry taxes that actually come into the city, about $34 million, with property tax with about $10 million. For roads, money for roads, we have about $5 million, with EDC having about $1 million. That's not enough. I would also have to concur with the previous speakers when they said that my particular district, District 3, have about 72% of the roads actually are within compliance of the city regulations, where that this west side here is about 70% that's not. So that's a big difference. The one thing that we'd have to understand that when we have these annual budgets, understanding the budget and how to spend money and budgeting money appropriately to what we need it for. As a councilman, if elected, my priority would be to make sure that I work with current and elected officials to address these issues. And one of the ways that you can do that is address these streets, infrastructure. We were recently on the news about a water leak, a pipe bursting. We have to invest our money wisely and ensure that these things don't happen, and we put the proper money and funding into these projects so they can last a little longer than what they've been doing for the previous years. So if elected, I would ensure that I would work closely, handily with the elected officials and the current members to follow up on these issues so that we can make these infrastructure issues not a problem anymore in Port Arthur. Thank you.
One of the ways that we will be able to increase the opportunity for us to better our infrastructure, again, is public-private partnerships. We are not the only people riding on these roads. We've heard several times before, we see different cars coming in and out of the city, buses coming in and out of the city. So creating these public-private partnerships is an opportunity where company ABC, family, I'll just use the hypothetical name Jones, Family Jones, and the city of Port Arthur can partner together to fund the fixing of a street, the reconstruction of a street. Streets are very, very important, but even more importantly is our infrastructure under the ground. If we do not repair the water and sewage lines that are underneath the ground, our streets will continue to cave. So infrastructure is beyond the streets and water and sewage pipelines. Infrastructure is everything that makes our city run. When we focus on not looking for a handout but a hand up, or business is not looking for a handout from us but a hand up, then we're able to create better partnerships. We have to create partnerships in order to get this job done. That will be one of the initiatives that I would push in order for us to be able to move these types of initiatives forward for our infrastructure. I do not believe that bond issues are the only way that we will be able to get these types of issues passed. Looking at our budget, it is very, very imperative that we do decrease some of the expenses that we have before we make an effort to go out and borrow more money. So we may have to borrow money, but it's very important that we look at how we're spending our money right now first.
Personally, I'm in agreement with the guys. I think we're going to have to do a bond issue, but I think that we need to learn a lesson from where we're at right now, because we got here from sitting and waiting on things to go wrong. And I think the lesson is we need to start maintaining things. It's kind of like our vehicles that we own, the taxpayers' vehicles that they own. And let's not repeat this ever again once we get this thing straight. And also, let's not forget about the people who are suffering right now. I mean, once we get seated, we've got people in town who are dealing with floods and actually raw sewage in their showers, in their restrooms when they get heavy rains. So let's think about these people. Let's take care of these people once we get in office. Let's not forget about them too. We got problems. Okay, let's have some empathy.
It took a long time for our infrastructure to get in the condition that it's in right now. We've been operating for many, many years without a capital improvement plan for our city, having money set aside to make sure that we maintain what we have. So now we have a capital improvement plan in place. That's a good thing. That's a good start. But because things are in the state that it's in right now, it's critical that we consider bond issues and that we also consider partnership with the industries to correct our problem with the infrastructure. Again, I agree with the fact that we need to look at sewer and drainage before we pour all of our monies into streets. It makes no sense to repair our streets and have to tear up the streets to take care of sewer and drainage. So we need to make sure that once we begin to repair, that we take care of sewage and drainage and then move on to the streets. But again, because things are in such bad shape, we really need to consider bond issue as well as partnership with the industries to make sure we take care of this problem.
Thank you again for the question. I agree that there's a lot of work to be done. We've seen the work that needs to be done. When I got on council, I was like, oh my God, how did this get like this? How in the world could our infrastructure be in such bad shape? And I thank God that they come up with a plan for our streets plan that is in place, and it's a 5-year plan that they have in place, and they've shown it to all council. We've gone through every area, every district to see where the bad roads are and what we need to do about it. And if elected, I would work with, I think that our refineries, I agree, of course, we have to have a lump sum of money, because what we have right now from EDC, $1.5 million from the sales tax is not going to do it. It may fix, I think, 1 square mile of a street will take us probably about $500,000. So it's expensive. So 1.5, I thank the EDC for partnering with us to give us that kind of money, but really it's not enough money. We need enough money to go in and to get the job done. There are communities that are suffering, and so I would look at, again, as with the men, we need to look at a bond issue, and also industry needs to pick up their fair share. They occupy here, and it's time for them to do their part. There's 30 million is good. We thank them for it. But if there's 60 million that we can get, we wouldn't have to have a bond issue. And that money is out there, and we need to make them pay for what they need to pay. And it is time for Port Arthur to get what is due Port Arthur. We don't have to have citizens pay additional money when you can have industry come in and do what they are supposed to do for our citizens. They're sitting in our ETJ. They need to be brought in to be annexed to pay their money. They need to do it. It's time. And it's time for us not to be afraid to make it happen.
Pretty much like everyone else has been saying, we probably may need to do a bond, but that's not the first thing that I would suggest. We need to find out just how much we'll need for streets and also for sewage and for drainage. So if you're going to do one big one, if you're going to do one. But also to increase revenue, I mentioned something early at the last forum about maybe possible toll road, or maybe a bus occupancy fee. You have all of these buses that are passing through here with people on them, tearing up our roads, and they're not contributing. So there's always other ways that we can partner with industry to maybe, like I say, a bus occupancy fee, vote to get a toll road, and maybe partner with the state to get additional monies. If you're gonna just keep passing through here, well, we're gonna get some revenue from you as you're passing through. So that's other things that we can do. We can partner with the county. I know the county would do a lot of the labor free if we paid for everything for streets. That's been on the table. So, but we have to partnership with them to get those things. So those are some of the things that I'm suggesting, or some of the things that I would like to look at first before we go to a bond. But in reality, to get that type of money, that's possibly what we need to do. But I'd like to explore all the options before we go to that first. Thank you.
And the final question for tonight for the school board candidates. In the age of technology proficiency in the STEM disciplines, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, is a national focus in education. What programs and initiatives would you recommend and advocate to the board and superintendent to ensure a high level of student exposure and proficiency to the STEM disciplines within all PAISD levels? Again, in the age of technology, proficiency in the STEM-related disciplines is a national focus in education. What programs and initiatives would you recommend and advocate to the board and superintendent to ensure a high level of student exposure and proficiency in the STEM disciplines within PAISD at all levels?
Well, I came to the conclusion that we passed the bond for new schools to hire a new teacher for better education for our kids. We also we really have to train the teachers. And what I came to a conclusion for the teachers, to help the teachers teach our kids, I think we need to start for the first and second year teachers. We need a mentorship program. This is an opportunity for experienced teachers to help the first and second year teachers with all the aspects of lesson planning, motivation, and anything that would produce a successful school year for the students and the new teacher. Another opinion is to start a coalition with the teachers, a team with each school that consists of a staff-wide book study, debriefing for challenging day or week, team building opportunities, and things that will improve the culture of the classroom and the school as a whole. That would lead to an experienced teacher, but would beneficial all. But we also need to help, we don't have the pay to get better teachers, but I feel that we should go out to other states or whatever to get better teachers for our kids, to get the education for math, science, and history. That's all.
I too need to repent. I am married. I am married to my wife Sherry for be 49 years in August, and every pulpit committee I've ever had didn't really care about me, but they really wanted Sherry really bad. So maybe she ought to be up here tonight instead of me. The STEM program is something that can turn children's lives around. I'm not really sure what we have in place at Memorial, but I do know this. Where I've been and what I've seen is the fact that when you give them a higher level of thinking ability, the computer, the high math that they need, but to be able to do that, we've got to be able to have qualified teachers who can do wonderful things with these children, and they have to be excited about it. And my thing about STEM has been always the fact that you had your great kids. Those are the kids that always want to be there. But I really think there's a challenge to bring kids who it can just slide by. I don't need that, but to get them involved in that will open up places where they can do greater things academically as well as in the programs in college. So my deal is, I don't know all the programs, but to be able to have the faculty and the place and all that we need in place we have the buildings and we have the facilities. Now we have some teachers. We probably need some more. Thank you.
Okay, to answer this question, and what many of you may not know, Port Arthur is very technology-based. There is research-based curriculum that the district has purchased. We have state-of-the-art technology systems, whiteboards, computer-based programs, as classrooms as young as pre-K. We have those capabilities. Now, where the district does fall short is the training for those technologies are not really enforced through the teachers. So they can't teach the programs if they're not trained adequately on them. They do offer some training at the orientations or convocation week back to school, but it's not enough to sustain the value of the curriculums and the technology that you're purchasing. So I have nothing negative to say on that because the resources, it's there. We just have to train our teachers to be able to accurately give the technology to the students. And also, as they were saying before, we do need additional qualified teachers. We have qualified teachers. I was one of them in the classroom, but we do need additional. There are several classrooms that are lacking qualified, certified teachers, highly qualified teachers. So we do need to focus on that, and that will help increase those STEM funding, STEM programs to our classrooms. We do have the HP programs or AP college preparatory programs and the STEM programs, so that is also available to our students. So we do have that. We just need additional training for our teachers, what would be a funding aspect or approach. Thank you.
Science, technology, engineering, and math. That's hands-on. Our kids and our teachers have to have hands-on in those fields. Right now we have a program that deals towards the STEM program. We also have we're working with Dr. Porter now to become an innovative district. We've already have one class that we learn through innovative teaching through our Spanish class because we don't have an ESL Spanish teacher. Well, one teacher at Region 5 teaches not just the kids in Port Arthur, but teaches the kids in Port Neches, Neyland, and Beaumont. That's one way we're doing in our classrooms, where she teaches from a big old board, and our kids learn from that way. That's why we passed the bond to make sure all of our kids have Wi-Fi in the classrooms. We have laptops. All elementary kids. Now, a kid at 5 years old now can log on to an iPad and learn. We're getting away from the books and we're teaching from the iPads. We're also letting the kids that have cell phones use their phones in class. If you're going to have the phone at school, we might as well use them for some good use. And so most of our teachers are putting it to good use as we speak. My daughter is learning in her calculus class, taking a college algebra class on her phone through her calculus class from her teacher, who teaches college algebra at Lamar University. So being an innovative district is one thing that we are in need of doing. And Dr. Portery is doing that as we speak. That's why we have these bonds passed. As far as the teachers, we have a new teacher mentoring program. We also want to include a mentoring teacher where they follow a teacher all year to help our teachers. But the thing is getting our teachers to stay. That's where we have to partner up with the city so our teachers can have something worthwhile staying in Port Arthur. Thank you.
We're near the end of our program. We're going to have closing remarks by Sorrel LaDonna Anderson and Brother Matthew Smith Sr. But one thing I'd like to do as a point of personal privilege, a special program of the Port Arthur Alumni Chapel of Kappa Alpha Psi is the Guide Right program, a program in which we mentor young men in the community. And the leader of that program for our alumni chapter is the Reverend Thurman Barty. And And as you heard several of the candidates say tonight, we need to look to the future because it is the future that is going to be leading us very shortly. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask all the members of the Guidewriting program to stand. Right. At this point, we're now going to go with the closing statements of the candidates. We'll return now in rotation to the City Council. Each candidate for City Council will have a 2-minute session to be able to give a closing statement and to explain again why they should be elected to the office which they seek.
Once again, as you heard from all the candidates, we all have good ideas on what we would like to do and things we can initiate to help and solve some of the problems we face in our city. And I think the things that just separate all of us at the end of the day is how much do we really know about what we want to undertake. You can have all the heart, all the spirit, but do you really understand what it's going to take to do what you say you're going to do? That's why if you have background, if you understand procedures, if you understand how cities work, you're better able to move a city forward. Our biggest problem up to this point has been we've had people who really, in their heart, want to do well and serve us all. But the fact of the matter, they didn't know how it should be done or the way it should be done. And at the end of the day, we don't move. No matter what we want to do, there's only a certain thing that's within our limits and in our power to do. And you have to know it. If you don't, you can do more harm than good. So, as I stated earlier, I've served on City Council for 2 years. I served on the EDC. I've been involved in city government since 2010 when I decided to run. And I've learned. And in order to move it forward, you gotta know what to do. So I have the experience background, and that's why I'm asking for your support for District 4 Councilman. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, the Bible says when a man gains a wife, he gains a good thing. And I can truly say that my wife has been good for me. And she's sitting in the back, Deborah Asbury Scott. Again, my name is Raymond Scott Jr. I'm running for District Councilman, District 1. I've been here, I've been performing. My record shows the work that I've done here in the city. I want to continue to be visible for the citizens, accessible, and accountable. Most of all, this is all about serving people. So I will continue to be able to serve people in a timely manner. Nobody's talking about when somebody calls you about grass cutting, buildings being demolished, sewage, water bills. All these things come about serving people. And this is the thing that you have to be committed to. You have to be committed to serve people. So I will continue the work that I've been doing and make sure that this quality of life for the citizens in Port Arthur will improve. Parks, recreation, cleaning up the city, and etc. So again, I have the experience. I want to continue to be the person that moves this city forward and make it a better place to live for the citizens of this city. Thank you.
First off, I want to thank you for the invite to be here tonight. Part of my duties when I worked at the police department since 1995 was the budget. And it carried through from a lieutenant to a deputy chief to the assistant chief to the chief. I prepared our budget. The police department's budget was the largest in the city almost every year. I have a lot of experience in working with budget and having to work with other department heads because it's you often robbing Peter to say, for Paul. And I have a lot of experience working in the budget. I'm retired, so I'll have time to put in full time because you can only go fishing and chase grandchildren so much. So I would appreciate the opportunity to represent the citizens in District 3. Thank you.
Thank you. If elected, what would I do to ensure? I do have experience with working with budget for the last 6 years, 2 of those as board president, and I was the board president when we passed the bond for $195 million. So I do have the experience in working with a team and understanding what it takes to pass certain bonds in this city, as well as my experience in the military and the education that I have. And I think that prepared me for this point now to give back to the community. I always say, until you are in somebody's shoes, you'd understand the path that they have to walk. So I put my name in the hat. I feel that I can contribute to the city of Port Arthur and the needs of the city of Port Arthur, being on the city council. So with your support, I would hope that you would elect Thomas J. Kinlaw III as your next city councilman, District 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to come and share our thoughts with you this evening. You did ask good questions, things that actually are relevant to our day-to-day duties as council members, and I'm sure as school board members as well. I am asking for your continued support for City Council Member of District 2, Tiffany L. Hamilton. I believe that we should run on our service, our dedicated service. I am a compassionate leader. I'm a dedicated leader. When the opportunity comes for me to be able to serve, I never back down from it. So I want to continue to offer that compassion and that service to the community. I believe that I've been a strong cheerleader for the city of Port Arthur, not only here at home, but also on the state level and the federal level as well. There are some initiatives that our state senators and congressional offices are decisions that they're making right now that will affect how we live today. It is very important that we follow those issues. And if we are not in the room to wave the flag to say Port Arthur is important and we care, then we will continue to be overlooked. So all of those issues, all of those initiatives that I continue to put forward are very, very important. Another thing is family. Family is very, very important. And if we do not take the opportunity to come together as a community and work together more effectively as a community with honor and with dignity and with respect, then we'll continue to have some of the negative downfalls we've had in the past. I want to be able to push more positive initiatives forward. So please vote for Tiffany Hamilton for District 2.
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it, appreciate the turnout. Prior to coming to work for the city of Port Arthur, I was manager over and oversaw 49 locations, approximately 200 employees, with a fleet size of approximately $250 million in fleet, rental fleet. And as your fleet maintenance manager here at the city of Port Arthur, I had to do budget forecasts and stay within those budgets and return money back to the general fund each of those 5 years. And every decision I made when I was here was in the best interest of the taxpayer, whether they liked it or not. And that's what I intend to do as a city councilman. I will watch over the taxpayers' money, and that I promise to do. Again, thank you, and I would appreciate your support come May 6th. Thank you.
Thank you again. I certainly hope you can understand me. I'm a little challenged in my health right now. But I'm running for city council because I want to work with our city manager, the mayor, and the city council members to help move this city forward and bring progress to this community. I believe that to move this city forward, that we need to improve our city policies and plans. I believe we need to implement a local compliance program. I believe we need to improve transparency and make sure that you, the community, know exactly what's going on. I believe that we need to work closer with all governmental entities, Lamar State College, Port Arthur Independent School District, as well as EDC. I believe that we need to stimulate a stronger economic growth and employment development in our community to help move it forward. I also believe that we need to look at beautification and civic engagement in our community. I believe that we need to begin to beautify every main thoroughfare in this city so that when people come into our city, they see something beautiful. I believe that we need to incentivize every one of our businesses in this community so that to ensure that they beautify their storefront, and that would help with beautification. I believe that we need to involve all civic and social organizations as well as sororities in this community, have them adopt a block, help to beautify our community. That's very important. I believe that we need to improve public safety. Again, I'm very concerned about the emergency room and having emergency care south of Highway 73. We need to improve efficiency. We need a health initiative in our community. And I believe that we need to bring the arts back. We need to bring things to our community, youth development, youth empowerment, and work with our young people and give them something to do in this community because they are our future leaders. I am running for City Council District 1 and I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Alpha Kappa Alpha and the Kappas for putting on this forum tonight. I would like to go back and continue the work I've started on for the last 13 months to see programs completed and that's been started. And I'd also like to just continue to build a better Port Arthur. We're on a positive note, and I believe that we are going somewhere. It may look slow, but it's happening. Sometimes you have to pull over and wait for your order at McDonald's, and that's a special order. My husband said that in a sermon one time, and I thought that was real good. So I feel like sometimes we have to wait on a special order. When you pull to the side, you get it hot. So Port Arthur, we are going somewhere, and we're building a better Port Arthur, and I'm looking forward to serving you. Vote for number 7, position 7, at large, Charlotte Moses for City Council.
First, I'd like to thank the Kappas and the AKAs for giving this forum. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. And I just want to let you know that I'm Cloney Ambrose Jr. I'm running for Councilman of District 4, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yes, now we have closing statements from those running from school board.
I would like to thank the Kappas and the AKA for having me over this evening. And my goals for the future of Port Arthur is to raise our students' achievement in all areas, close the achievement gap between our students and students across the state, pay close attention to our subgroup and across the district, to ensure the ability structure are built and remodeled utilizing the funds, the bond funds, create a positive climate that is inviting to all parents and the community members. I have been on the school board from 2012 to 2015, and I've worked with Dr. Kinlaw and Mr. Lofton to get the bond passed. And I'd like to see the conclusion of all the buildings being renovated and rebuilt. My name is Diane Brown, and I'm running for school board, and I would appreciate your vote.
Well, somebody asked, why are you running? You're retired. I said, I really feel like God's called me to do this. Now, whether or not, sometimes you knock on the door and the Lord doesn't open doors, that's fine. I'm not running against anybody. These are three great people over here. I just want to tell you that. And they seem like they really care about the kids, and they really care about PAISD. I'm running because of the life verse I gave you a while ago. That's why we could have moved anywhere when we came back. I believe in Port Arthur, Texas. I believe in the PAISD. I want to be a part of a team that makes a difference. I'm thankful for those who are in this race with me. I pray that they have a great time. I would like your support. I would like to be a part of it. But thank you for letting me be here tonight, from the organizations that invited me. And I pray that this will be a good night for everybody. I'm through. Can you please? You held that up there just to make sure I got finished.
My vision is to be a visible addition to PAISD, serving and being an experienced voice for all staff and all students in the district. The things I listed earlier on my platform, low teacher morale, disciplinary and behavioral problems, and low literacy rates, are not things that I read in the newspaper or things that were told to me. These are things that I experienced in the classroom, in the trenches of PAISD. So I know that it's valid, I know that it's needed. And so I want to be that person to bring all of that to close those issues and concerns and focus on them. I'm asking for your vote and your support on May 6th. I am Dr. Michelle Lockwood Snodgrass. And more importantly than your vote, I ask that you continue to pray for all the students of PAISD. That's where it's really important, is our students. They are our future and why we're doing this. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, I've sat here and I listened to our city council members that's running for council and the board members, but we have one thing in common here, people. Those jobs that we're looking for, our kids in PAISD are the ones that we want to work in those jobs. That's right. So we have to get those kids prepared when we want this training and our kids to go to college. We have to prepare our kids in Port Arthur. No parent, I mean not one parent, I don't care if it's drugs, alcohol, or nothing, wakes up wanting their kid to fail. And no kid wakes up in the morning wanting to fail. So we have to look at it as a community and motivate our kids. I motivate more than just mine, I can tell you that now. And half of the kids that's in this Grind Right program, I've motivated, coached them, did something with them. My son is a product of the Guide Right program. So when I say that I want to continue doing what I'm doing in this community, it doesn't matter if I'm on the school board working as a team with the people that we have now, or if I wasn't on the school board, I still would be doing the same thing, and that's trying to motivate our kids to be something in this world, because no one wakes up wanting to fail. Thank you. And I'm gonna go down and close on behalf of my wife.
Because you know we're going to tell her that you forgot.
Brother Matthews, Smith, and Sora LaDonna Anderson, you'll come to the front, please, and we'll follow that with the benediction by Reverend Barty.
By all means.
Well, first of all, I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to function as a chairman for AKA. And I want all of my sorors of Epsilon Theta Omega chapter to please stand after Kappa Alpha sorority. Ladies, I thank you for the opportunity and the challenge to get this job done. I hope that what I've tried to do has been pleasing to you. Well, first of all, I want it to be pleasing to God. And then my sorors, and of course my community. I thank you so very, very much. Thank you. You can be seated. Now, In having this job, I was given the opportunity to send out communications to all of our candidates. I want you to know that every candidate here received letters of invitation. Some of them responded immediately. Some of them responded eventually. Some of them never responded, but they came. And I thank you. I thank you so very much. I thank you for coming here and telling us about who you are, what you want to do, and we just thank you. Because you know what? You didn't have to come just because you got the invitation, and you didn't have to say and do what you did, but we appreciate you. We appreciate your service and your desire to serve our city. Once again, thank you, and I congratulate you all, even though the election has not happened, because in my eyesight, all of you are winners just by coming and just by serving. Because see, a lot of people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk, okay? So we thank you for that. Once this is over, I want to tell you all, no cards, no political election paraphernalia should be given out in this building. You're welcome to talk to anybody you want to. You're welcome to share whatever you want to. But please do not pass out any political election paraphernalia in the building. Once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll be praying for each one of you as you go through this. Because you know what? This is a prayer journey. Our city is in trouble. We need you. Community, remember, these are the people who are supposed to make decisions on our behalf. I don't care if it's your friend, your enemy. Think about their platforms and think about the impact they're going to have on our children. So with that, I thank you, thank you, thank you. And here, Ms.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On behalf of the entire Brotherhood of the Port Arthur Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi, where Dr. Albert Thigpen serves beautifully as Polmar, we applaud the prospective candidates for city and school board. And thank you for your participation at this political forum this evening. As we embrace the challenges of the 21st century, it becomes incumbent upon all of us, each of us, to serve our community and support our elected officials as they collaboratively move Port Arthur forward. But it takes all of us. And I will leave you with this quote, famously given by Benjamin Franklin. If you fail to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So let's support Port Arthur. After all, it is our city. Thank you, and God bless each of you.
Excuse me, I've been asked to request, if you have not signed the attendance, one of my fraternity brothers has it right back there, and before you would leave, they would want you to sign. They have a record of who has attended. If you all would stand, please. And I would just say, as the Lord watch. See, y'all Baptists between me and thee. When we're absent, one from the other. Amen. All the newts and the guide right guys, you all come up to the front, please. All of the Kappas and the guide right guys. I'll get my son. It's good. They see you.